Shopping for SUVs? Dublin Chevrolet will save you money.
Drive the new 2020 Chevy Traverse for as low as $31,599.
Call, click, or come see us. Dublin Chevrolet, the only dealer you will ever need.
Good morning and welcome to another edition of the Dublin High Fighting Irish Coaches Show. I'm here with head coach and athletic director of Dublin High School, Roger Holmes. Coach, really tough first half against Dodge County, and then our kids kind of got it together in the second half and put the pedal down. Your team's averaging 47 points a game. I think, not counting the ECI game because we only played a quarter there. We're averaging close to 47 points a game there. Huge crowd at the game. Can you tell us what offensively we took away from that game?
Well, I told our players, and we talked about it at the Booster Club meeting, in our film evaluation of going into the Dodge County game, we were trying to figure out exactly what they were going to do. They've got a new coaching staff over there. Their head coach was a former defensive assistant to Coach Hodges in Dodge County. And when we did our film study and our look through, they had played a couple of teams that were somewhat similar to us in that they played Appling County and they played Fitzgerald, who used a tight end. And they played a 4-3 defense. They played some of what appeared to be what Rex Hodges and those guys used to run in a 4-4 defense.
Played Fitzgerald tough.
Lost on the last play of the game. Fitzgerald, I think, made a 50-yard field goal right there to beat them 30-27. But then we had them in their last two games against Northeast Macon, Southwest Macon, and we'd seen them live in their scrimmage with Hawkinsville. All those people were spread teams who didn't use a tight end, and Dodge County used a 3-5 defensive front. We went out on Monday and we looked at our adjustments to the 3-5 and things that we needed to be able to do to block a 3-5 on some particular plays that we ran. As I continued to watch it film and study film daily, I was just convinced in my mind that we would not see the 3-5.
You think maybe a 4-4, 4-3, 4-4 maybe?
That's what we thought we would get, and we spent probably 95% of our time game planning to face those defenses, and then we watched them in their pregame warm-ups, and they're in their 3-5. So obviously, again, the question is, are they just showing us that in pregame, or is that what they intend to do? You're not going to know till it really happens.
And you don't have time to simulate all that during a week of practice, do you?
No, it's hard to block 3 or 4 different defenses. Now, that being said, our kids, we have rules that we have to follow, and no matter what defense we get, if you know your assignments, you know your rules, you're going to be fine. Now, our kids adjusted pretty quickly to what they were doing, and we were able to change our game plan, if you will, sort of midstream, and what we knew we needed to do to attack that particular front. Our running backs in the first half, I think they were trying to bounce too many things outside, turn things into long touchdown runs. But we continued to get better as the game got going. We moved the thing around a little bit. Obviously, a big play for you is anytime at halftime, if you can get points right before you go in at halftime, it's huge. We have a draw play that's been in our offense that we haven't run this year to this point. We ran it 3 times the other night. Jaquez scored on it right there toward the end of the first half with a 55, 60-yard run, something. I don't know. I know it was a long run.
He had almost 200 yards.
Yeah, according to our stat guy, he had 199 yards rushing. He had 19 or something receiving. So he went over 200 yards in total offense, led the team in tackles defensively, just had a great night. But we settled in. We had a big fourth down play there where Jaquez, we ran a little play action pass, and Jaquez caught the thing out in the flat, went in to score. So all of a sudden this football team had something positive happen in the passing game. I thought our quarterback played well. Our offensive line continued to be physical up front. Jeremy Stuckey had a tremendous night at center. He was covered with a nose man most of the night, and as the game went on, I think Stuck might have led our team in pancake blocks the other night with 5 or 6 just dominating blocks. You don't want to forget Ty McRae. Ty had a phenomenal night, being physical up front all night. But Jalen Carter, Barrick Wadley, and a young man that deserves a little pat on the back had to step in. Ahmad Lattimore got banged up a little bit the week before, and we wanted to play it as safe as we could and make sure that Ahmad, got out of this week healthy and had a little bit more time to recover. With that being said, we had to go with Jarvis Jones at offensive tackle, and Jarvis was very physical and had a really good night for us there.
Right. Coach, I noticed you did open up the passing game a little bit. Was there something you saw that Dodge maybe could give you, or? Well,
yes and no. They were playing their corners really, really tight to the line of scrimmage in the 3-5, and we felt like there were some opportunities. We looked for some big play opportunities, and we missed a couple of them. But to be quite frank, we'd run by their DBs, and they were in panic mode, and they ended up getting 2 pass interference penalties on them, which is just as well as completing the pass, I think. It gave us some big penalty yardage there. All in all, our protection was pretty good. We've just got to continue to improve with reading coverages, pre-snap reads, and making sure we're delivering the ball on time to the right people. But this football team can throw the football. I mean, at the end of the day, our run game is what we try to use to set up our pass game. Some people in today's football want to use the pass 50-50 and that type thing. But for us, it's about being able to line up and block people and run the football and then throw play action pass when they start getting a little greedy and those defensive backs forget what their job is. When we coach our kids defensively as a defensive back, your rule of thumb is pretty simple. You play pass first, you play run second.
Right.
And when we can line up and run the football and force people's defensive backs into thinking, hey, I better get down here and help stop the run, then they're subject to the play action.
Well, you got Gabe Guyton out there. You got Arshawn James. Not only do they block very well, but they can catch the ball.
Oh, they do a good job. And a young man that came in and played split end a lot for us the other night because of the formation and what we were trying to get done, Al Guyton came in and played split end for us a great deal the other night, and he had a phenomenal night blocking for us. And so at the end of the day, I felt like it was a team win. I felt like we had 2 backs have tremendous yardage on the night. So it's a good offensive night. I think we had somewhere around 380 yards of total offense, and that's a pretty solid night against a big rival at their place on a Friday night.
I certainly agree.
Playoff game.
Right. We'll take a break, have a word from our sponsors, and come back and talk about some defense.
Here at Dublin Ford Lincoln, without all of our wonderful friends, we would have no reason to be here. Elzar Martinez is one of those friends.
We've been doing business with Dublin Ford since 2001. We're a Ford guy, we're a Ford family, and I recently just bought a 2018 Ford F-250. I'm enjoying it. It's really nice. They treat us well,
Others call you customers, we call you friends. That's Dublin Ford Lincoln.
Friendly Gus has everything you need this football season. From our everyday value items like a $2.99 two-piece dark meat chicken snack, or our fish pork chop 3-piece dark or 2-piece white meat snack for just $5.50. Friendly Gus caters. Order one of our 20, 40, or 60-piece chicken finger or wing platters. And don't forget the tater logs. Friendly Gus is your one-stop shop for tailgating parties. Our food is always fresh and our service is always friendly. Friendly Gus with locations throughout Middle Georgia. Shop Cochran Brothers Cash and Carry at 320 South Jefferson Street for additional tailgate items like paper products, chicken wings, bulk drinks, spices, sauces, and more.
Matt Hatchett, your District 150 representative for Lawrence, Trutland, and Johnson counties, is proud to support our local high schools. Matt and his family is proud of our East Lawrence Falcons, Trinity Crusaders, the Dublin High Fighting Irish, the West Lawrence Raiders, the Trutland County Vikings, and the Johnson County Trojans. Matt Hatchett, your District 150 representatives. Go team!
Real people steal people. They want real power, real options, real value. Right now, get real savings on chainsaws, blowers, hedgers, string trimmers, and more. The #1 selling brand of handheld outdoor power equipment in America. This fall, get a real solution. Get a Stihl from MidState Tractor and Equipment, 1325 North Jefferson in Dublin.
Coach, let's talk about the defense a little bit. We touched on it earlier. We only gave up 6 points to a really high-powered Dodge County offensive team with all those skill players they've got out there. The secondary has been much improved from week to week. We've seen a bunch of passing teams. I think our secondary is improved each week. They're not where we want them to be, but we're not at week 11. So let's talk about the defense and what you saw.
Well, I think, number one, I want to tip my hat to our defensive coaching staff. Nick Collins is our defensive coordinator. Joe Stubbs and Derek Harris work with our defensive secondary. Nick coaches the linebackers. Matt Starley coaches our defensive tackles, and Derek Brown coaches our defensive ends. Those guys, you know, from an offensive standpoint, we put in a lot of time, but anytime you're a defensive coach, there's a lot more time on film study. It just takes longer, you know, to develop that game plan. And a lot of times when people are already gone home, those guys are still up here on Monday night, Tuesday night, Wednesday night, double checking, looking at breakdowns, drawing play cards, planning practice. They deserve a tremendous amount of credit with the improvement that these young men are making. Now, all that being said, you can be the best defensive staff, best defensive coordinator in the world. If you don't have some players on the field to go execute and be able to do the things that you're trying to do, it makes you not a very good coach. So we've got good players. You know, I feel like for us, it kind of starts inside at defensive tackle. Anytime you're strong in there, you've got a chance to be a good football team. And we're basically rotating 3 young men in and out through there that all play for us. You know, Khalil White is a one-way player pretty much. He plays defensive tackle. He subs in the offensive line and does a great job when he's there. But he plays at defensive tackle. And then you've got Barrick Wadley and Jeremy Stuckey, who kind of rotate. Both of those guys are offensive players for us, start on offense, so we can rotate those two defensively in there. Then to be strong, obviously, up the middle, then you got to go to our Mike linebacker, Jalen Carter. And Jalen's been a 3-year starter.
He's your signal caller.
He's the signal caller. He makes checks at the line of scrimmage on things that we feel like if they line up like this, this is what we need to check to make sure we're in this front.
Intelligent young man.
It takes a tremendously intelligent young man. It takes somebody that's got the respect of their teammates. And this young man, he doesn't come off the field. He plays offensive guard, which to me is our, you know, ranks right there as the toughest and most important position that we have in our offense. Then he turns around and plays middle linebacker. Never complains, just plays his heart out every week. tremendous high school football player. Then when we jump out to the defensive ends, Romello Height. You know, everybody knows Romello is a tremendous playmaker and does a lot of good things for us.
Primarily a one-way player also.
Well, we use him a lot at tight end. He'll get about half the reps on offense with Arshawn James at tight end. But Romello is, you know, he draws a lot of extra attention right now because of his athletic ability and because of his status as a prospect. You know, everybody looks at that and they're gonna try to give him their best night, and you know, they'll put an extra back out of the backfield and protections on Romello to try to keep him off the quarterback. And I think he's a lot of the reason why we're facing some of these teams now. They don't hold the football in the pocket very long against us right now. They're going to play action fake, and they're going to get it out of their hands pretty quick and probably need to.
And I noticed you'll flip-flop him on ends. We noticed a lot last week.
Well, he usually plays for us as our he goes to what we consider the weak side. Now, there are times when we'll check it and we'll say, all right, we want you to be the field defensive end against some teams that don't use a tight end because our other defensive end usually is the one that goes with tight ends. And then there are times that we'll use him in a matchup situation. For example, in the Bleckley County game, the big offensive tackle they had that was a really physical kid, good pass blocker. We felt like that getting to the quarterback against that young man was going to be pretty tough, regardless of who it was. So what we did was we put our stronger, more physical defensive end, who usually goes with the tight end. He went with the big kid all night, and now Romello is on the opposite side, and the kid they had over there wasn't able to block him.
Height had a great game Friday night.
Yeah, he's always playing well, and he's a team player, and you know, you got to appreciate that and love that in a young man that's being recruited, that's gotten a lot of love, who's already committed, is graduating at Christmas, going to college. You know, he could have the big head and this and that. Well, he doesn't. He's just a very down-to-earth team football player, and he's doing a great job. Then you got Josh Isaac and
Sam
Donut. Jaquez Evans playing our outside linebackers, but we're getting a lot of help right now out of Arshawn James and Drake Walker at those two outside linebacker positions, and they're doing a good job. Now, Ahmad Lattimore had to sit the other night, or didn't have to. We kind of chose to, just again making sure that he was 100% healthy.
His status for this week?
He should be full go. Nathan Gregory got 90% of the reps at defensive end the other night. He was a transfer that's moved in that we see improving a lot every week. Junior, and he's grasping and understanding more about what we want out of him in our defensive philosophy, and I think he's adjusting to that very well. You know, I think TV35's player of the game last week, Marcus Adams.
Great defensive game. Not only does he run the ball well, he runs with a purpose, as I say. I think he got that for his name was called numerous times for tackles.
Yeah, well, Mark is sort of our quarterback of our secondary. He makes most of our checks based on formations people line up in. We'll change what coverage we line up and try to play.
Or Kendall Wade was making those checks.
Kendall was doing it before.
Somebody had to take that position over.
And Mark is a very bright young man. You know, I mean, I told him that yesterday on the practice field. You know, he's very astute and very bright and recognizes things, does a good job. Weak corner, DJ Wright had a good solid game the other night. Got a little banged up with his shoulder, but he's back in uniform, ready to go.
He'll play through that.
I think so. He's a competitor. Gabe Guyton's playing the free safety, and sophomore Marquavion Ashley is playing strong corner for us. Al Guyton got some reps the other night and in the secondary, and you know, that's an area that's getting better, but we still have a lot of room to make improvements back there. But a guy once told me, and I'm inclined to agree with him, the best pass rush is the best pass coverage you got. So we got to get it heated up front.
Well, nothing's going to improve them more than live action.
Well,
you can't simulate what you're seeing in games on the field in practice. And it seems that the secondary, with Wade going out and having to make your adjustments, that after 5 weeks they have shown tremendous improvement.
Well, we're getting better, and we're going to have to continue to get better. And, you know, we're going to talk about Southwest here when we come back from the break. But if you're not pretty good on the back end against those guys, it's going to be a long night.
That's right. We'll take a break and have a word from our sponsors. Be back and talk about some region play in Southwest.
Hey, want a successful career? Start with an education that puts you front and center with hands-on experience. An education that will prepare you for opportunity in 2 years or less. An education that's fast and affordable. Most OFTC students graduate debt-free thanks to the Hope Career Grant, which offers free tuition in more than 63 programs. Think differently about college. Choose OFTC for an education that's fast, local, and debt-free. OFTC is an equal opportunity institution.
Jeff Shepard here at Roach Farm and Garden. Deer season is here. Come to see us at Roach Farm and Garden. We got all your deer hunt necessities. We carry 5-way, 3-way, Harvest Advantage, iron clay peas, wheats and oats, daikon radishes, a bruiser rye, and big boss rye, buck forage and annual rye. We will make your food plots look right. We have all your supplies of deer feed, 17 and 24% protein, QDM and 4S. We even carry 4S draw in the block and bags. And when you get that deer, we've got something to cook him with, from grills to griddles to your deep fryers. You want clothes? We got a full line of Georgia boot, Rocky boot, and all the Carhartt that you could need. And for your pelletized grill, we have any flavor you need. We have ladder stands by Millennium and Amerstep, replacement seats, protein blocks, salt blocks, and attractants, and a full line of coolers. And don't forget to pick your supply up of Voodoo while you're in there. It's at the counter. Don't forget, everything you need for deer season is right here at Roach Farm and Garden. 2 locations, Wrightsville and Dublin.
I'm Locke Wilford with 3 big reasons to buy at Dublin Nissan. Price, selection, and savings.
Drive the Rogue SV for as low as $26,740 with 0% financing.
Get more Nissan for your money at Dublin Nissan.
Drive the Altima SV as low as $23,725.
I'm Don Carswell. For every vehicle we sell in October, we'll be making a donation to the fight to end breast cancer.
Call, click, or come see us. Dublin Nissan, the only dealer you will ever need.
And we're back. Coach, let's talk about region play. We're 3-0 in region play after 3 games. We've got 3 tough games left region-wise, and then the Florida team coming in. How do you keep the kids focused after being on top in the region and not letting them give up, maybe pull a UGA like the kids did last week up there in Athens?
Well, I think there's no question that's always a big concern. It's one that makes my hair turn gray. You know, now I think a lot of that has to do with being a routine. You have a schedule, you have a routine, and you follow it. It doesn't matter who you play, whether you're favored or whether you're an underdog. You know, there's certain things that you got to get done on the practice field in order to prepare. You talk to your players about that. I mean, obviously, the majority of the kids on our football team are Georgia Bulldog fans. You're able to point that out to them, you know, straight out of the gate, you know, and hope that some of that resonates and it comes home. But I think, number one, all you do now is you put film on and you show them who you're fixing to play.
And that's Northeast.
Southwest.
Southwest.
Week. Yeah.
Southwest.
Southwest this week.
Northeast next week.
When you look at Southwest Macon, first thing you do when you turn the film on, you see a quarterback who can throw the heck out of it, and you see number 10, number 6, and number 4 spread out all across the field. And the truth of the matter is they've been about a foot off the other night. They win the football game. There is a tremendous, a 45-yard post route that the quarterback throws on the dime. And the receiver reaches out, and it's like the ball hits the top half of his hand. If he catches it, game over. You know, they're very, very athletic. They're scary as heck. You go back and you look at film.
Always fast.
Yeah, and they've got big offensive linemen. They've got a couple of defensive linemen that are tremendously physical. And if you start looking at record and not evaluating scheme, the thing that you got to do as coaches you know, fans don't necessarily see it. We know where our strengths are, and we know where our weaknesses are. And you have to do a good job of making sure that if you have somebody that doesn't do this well or they don't do that well, you've got to figure out a way to compensate for that if you know that other team does that part very, very well. And
You may have to change matchups sometimes.
matchups, or which way you rotate your secondary, or which way you slide your front, or like we said, which side you put your defensive end on that week, choices to make and handling matchups and that type thing. Now,
Defense better be ready this week.
well, we're going to get spread out from sideline to sideline. We're going to be faced with some tremendous athletes. And then for us, again, offensively, it always goes down to taking care of the football and being sound and solid in the kicking game. Now, you mentioned our region. Last week, we went in, and both us and Dodge were undefeated in the region at this point, and so was Washington County. Well, we beat Dodge, so Dodge now has a loss. Bleckley County, what some people consider an upset, and maybe, I'm not sure. I haven't seen Washington County on film. I haven't watched them live. I know their reputation, and I know what they're capable of doing.
Absolutely.
And Bleckley County was able to get Waco at their place at Bleckley on last Friday night and came out with a big win.
Which shows that our win against Bleckley was a huge win.
It was a big win. There's no question about it. So for us, we control our own destiny, but you can only do it 1 week at a time. You know, and Southwest is our big challenge this week. It'll be a little bit different probably for them and us both. You're going to be dealing with some weather issues this week. Might force you indoors. Well, I just got news for you. It's hard to prepare for a spread passing team in the gym.
In the gym.
So those things always concern you. They're things you can't control, but our preparation will be the same.
Coach, I think that the high school, Dublin High, is having some extracurricular activities for some of the other athletes, senior athletes we're trying to honor this week, Friday night.
Senior night, it's gotten to where we have so many kids, it's hard to get everybody's senior night in 1 week. Okay, now we pushed the game with team from Florida was scheduled late, but when we originally did our schedule, this was our next to last home game. And so what we're doing Friday night is we're going to recognize our senior band members, and cross country and volleyball and competition cheer and all other sports. Senior night for fall sports will be recognized this week in the Shamrock Bowl, and hope our fans will get out and pat these folks on the back, because they work hard and long hours too at the sport that they're working in, and we appreciate all they do and how they represent Dublin High School.
We'll be back next week with the highlights from the Southwest. We hope everybody will come out to the Shamrock Bowl Friday night and watch your Dublin Fighting Irish.
Shopping for SUVs? Dublin Chevrolet will save you money.
Drive the new 2020 Chevy Traverse for as low as $31,599.
Call, click, or come see us. Dublin Chevrolet, the only dealer you will ever need.
Good afternoon. Sit Up Dublin Natural Gas Department, Yvonne speaking. How may I help you? You're smelling gas inside your house? Eric, at 709 Bell Drive, they're smelling gas inside their house. Could you go check it out, please?
10-4, I'll be en route.
One of our service personnel is being dispatched. At this time, please evacuate your home and move to a safe destination away from the potential gas leak. Do not light a match, turn on any electrical switches or devices. Do not hang up your phone, place it down, and leave. And please do not re-enter your home until a leak investigation has been conducted by our gas department.
Mr. Cates, I'm Brad. This is Eric. We were the City of Dublin Gas. Are you, you say you called about smelling some gas?
Yes.
Everybody outside? Well, what we're going to do, Eric's going to go to the side of the house, check the meter out, make sure everything's okay, nothing's running through the meter. I'm going to check around the door, and then we'll go inside and kind of see what's going on.
Okay.
Mr. Case, we went inside and checked around the ceiling, pretty much everywhere, all your appliances, and it looks like you're in good shape. The reason that we check up high around the ceiling is natural gas is lighter than air. It's always going to rise. We checked all your appliances. Absolutely nothing was indicated as far as gas leak goes. So I believe you're in good shape.
All right.
Ms. Case, we appreciate your business and being a natural gas customer. We're on call 24 hours, 7 days a week. If there's anything that you ever need, give us a call. We'll be more than glad to come out and check anything that you need.
Okay. All right. Appreciate that.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right.
All right. Appreciate it.